Hey everybody, hope you're having a phenomenal Friday. This one's a quick one for you. I get asked a lot about how much I invest on a monthly basis. And so while it's not necessarily 100% consistent, there is some underlying automatic um, transfers that I do into some of these accounts that you can relatively quickly start to add up about a minimum how much I'm investing every single month. And so we can start out with the most simple one. So what you're seeing on the screen here is my IRA. And as I'm speaking, I'm quickly looking around to see if there's any confidential information on here. It doesn't look like there is, but if you're looking at the left part of the screen where it says 6,000 contributions for 2019, that is how much I put in so far this year. And I believe it was like within the first month or two of the year. So January, February timeframe, I put that $6,000 in. But what you could say is really take that and spread it over 12 months, and that could be about $500 a month. And the reason why I'm saying that is because not everyone would be able to stack up maybe $5,000-$6,000, so that way when the new year comes around, be able to immediately put it in there. So I'm kind of trying to help you figure out how much you would have to do on a monthly basis by a calendar year time frame to be able to put, say, $6,000 in. So just so you're aware, $6,000 divided by 12 is $500. So that's how I'm getting that $500 a month. So if you're able to contribute to that, then you can get to the $6,000 contribution limit for a Roth IRA. So that's at the moment the baseline. So $500 a month just with that. Then, and there is some confidential information on here, so I will be removing some of this material just so you guys are aware. But what we have at the moment on the screen is my Amex personal savings, and what I'm going to show you here is that twice a month, generally middle of the month and the last of the month, I get paid a $500, or I don't get paid $500. I take $500 from each pay, and I will put that into my personal savings account. And generally what I do is I do this so that way, in case of any emergencies, I have a little bit of wiggle room. Say like I maybe overspend 1 month or have a big purchase on a credit card, then I can just throw $500 or $600 back into my checking account for the month, and when the credit card bill comes and it's on auto pay, I don't really have to worry about it or accrue any interest because I can pay it off in full. And basically what this is basically a slosh fund. So you can see every once in a while when the numbers get somewhat large or I get really antsy, I'll take the money out. So if you're looking here on the most right part or right column of this table, you can see sometimes it gets up to say $6,000-$7,000. I get antsy, I transfer that back into my bank account, and then I'll put it in Fidelity or something like that. But like I said, on a monthly basis or paycheck basis, you can see I went from about $400 in May-ish time frame to now doing $500 per pay. And that $400 that I was doing, per pay, stemmed back for quite a while. And I think the reason why I upped it to $500 a pay was because a lot of times what ended up happening is every couple months I would have enough money in my checking account where I would end up transferring it anyway to my individual brokerage account, or just waiting to the beginning of the year to transfer it to my IRA. So I just made more sense to maybe put it into a personal savings account, and while I'm maybe trying to figure out where to put those funds, I can earn a little bit more interest, albeit not that much, but 2% is a lot better than 0.1 or 0.2% in my Wells Fargo checking account, so makes a little bit better than what it was. But you can see, generally speaking, like clockwork, $400 on every paycheck. So that adds up pretty quickly if you think about it. If you're doing $400, $500 a pay, I know that seems like a lot. But to me, it ends up adding, it's just for like a savings rate, it could be anywhere between 10 to 20%. And I think that is really good. Not saying specifically for me, but just anyone with a 10 to 20% savings rate, I personally think that is something to, at a minimum, absolute minimum, strive for. And I go to this in a couple of my other videos, but it really starts to add up, and I think that is really at a minimum where you should start, because in all honesty, if you're not able to even meet that 10 to 20%, then you're going to be stuck, in the rat race forever. And I can't really talk because I'm still in the rat race, but I'm definitely, at this point saved over 2.5 times my salary, and I'm 28, so I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying, this is the sort of cost cutting you need and savings you need in order to achieve this sort of success, at least, or relative success. I'm not saying by any means I'm successful at investing, but I think compared to some of my peers, for sure, I'm doing pretty well. And then, of course, looking specifically at my Fidelity account, what you're seeing, and I can't show you all of this because otherwise it would screw up the aspect ratio of what I'm showing you on the screen here, but what I'm showing you is generally on the 15th of every month, right around there, depending on if it's a weekend or not. I deposit about $1,500 into my brokerage account, and you'll see around mid-May I was playing around because we got paid bonuses, and I had also been accumulating quite a bit of money in my personal saving, which you saw I was transferring, decent amount of money in and out of that. So with that said, it gets not funny money by any means, but I'm just moving things between accounts, and so showing it like this, you can kind of be like, oh wow, like adding 6,800, 7,500. But you'll see here in a second that I moved some money out of my brokerage account as well for a little bit, and we can show that. But you can see, like clockwork, generally on the 2nd of every month, or sorry, the 15th or so of every month, I'll be adding 1,500 or so. It seems like in June I added way more 1,500, but mid-June 1,500, May 1,500, mid-May or mid-April 2,000. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass, I guess, at this point, but I thought it was relatively consistent at about 1,000. 1,000 was back in May, or in March, I'm sorry. So I mentioned in a comment relatively recently on another video, is I used to be only adding about 1,000 to my brokerage every month, and I kind of just mentioned this during my personal savings run through really quick, but a monthly run through. But a lot of times in my checking account, things would get stacked up where I'd have a couple thousand that wouldn't be enough, or that would be way more than enough to pay off a typical credit card bill for me, because I push things through a rewards credit card and pay it off in full every month, so I don't accrue any interest. And then I put any sort of rewards that I get back to my my individual brokerage account, the account that we're looking at. But immediately what you're probably noticing is money coming in and out, and that was because we had bonuses around that time, and wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to put all of it in the stock market or if I was sitting in cash or what have you. So it is what it is. I ended up putting it all back in anyway, but you can see around the Marchish time frame, I went from about 1,000 a month to 1,500 a month in my individual brokerage account. And that was just because I felt like my savings rate was too low, automatic savings rate rather. And what I mean by that is this 1,500 that comes out every pay or every month automatically goes into my brokerage account, and I invest it regardless. And I wouldn't overspend if I had money in my checking account, but I was transferring that money anyway. And so what I said to myself was, let me put an extra 500 into my brokerage account every month and see if that kind of helps even things out. Luckily for me, with the addition of the other, going from 400 to 500 in my paycheck, saving every paycheck. So that went from 800 to 1,000 every month, and then the increase to about 500, as you're seeing every month here. It's an increase of about 700 every month. And things in my checking account, albeit it's only been about 3 months since I've been doing this, have relatively evened out. But we'll see. I still have been relatively okay, and I also went to Mexico last month, so that might have been incorporated into last month's bill as well. So maybe without any major expenses, I might end up upping this from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. But like you see here, it's only been a couple months, so I might keep it at that. But if you incorporate the $500 a month that I get strictly investing in my Roth IRA, which I showed you first, let me just go back here so you guys understand what I'm talking about. So the $500 here, the $500 per pay, or $1,000 a month here, you're looking at $1,500 total. And then if you're looking at the $1,500 a month that we're looking at here, say in like the past 90 days or so, then that gets you to around $3,000 a month in terms of additional contributions to the portfolio, which is around 1%, and that's not including 401k and stuff like that. So that's additional money that, fortunately for me, I'm able to invest. But this alone is a pretty decent chunk of my salary, and keep in mind I generally invest everything post-tax, so that's even my 401k, but this isn't including any company match or anything like that. So numbers are actually bigger than that in terms of 3,000, but what's actually coming from my strict, contributions outside of, say, a normal retirement savings is about 3,000 a month, and that's not including bonus time and what I do with that. This is strictly like on a paycheck per paycheck basis what's coming out. In all actuality, I think it's a little bit more, and just being 100% honest with you, and I generally invest most of my bonuses and stuff like that, and I'm not going to get too much into that, but it'd probably be on the order another 500 to 1,000 relatively easily. I could say that with pretty good confidence, that most likely it's in the $3,500 to $4,000 range that I'm saving per month. And luckily for me, I'm currently single, have no children, so I'm able to accomplish that. But in by no means am I like eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or living in a cardboard box. I mean, right now I'm homeless because I'm transferring for corporate reasons and for work reasons, but by no means did I live in like a cardboard box or anything like that. I lived in a pretty decent apartment, and I drove a pretty decent car. Granted, it was paid off and 10 years old and whatnot, and I just sold that tonight, and I'm pretty upset about it. But anyway, just hoping that this gives you a good idea as to what's possible. And granted, I do earn pretty well, so this is a decent amount of savings. I'm not going to tell you the exact savings rate because I think telling you guys my income is rather, it's not really that impressive, but also it's kind of cheeky. And I think I do enough with transparency, showing you guys a lot about what's in the portfolio already. But it's way more than 10 to 20%. I'll say that, and it's below 50% probably. So keep that in mind, and also have a good video for you guys to watch about savings rate and what that means for you. And just because I'm investing, say, $3,000 a month doesn't mean, oh my God, like I need $3,000 a month. I mean, this is just my lifestyle that I'm trying to match, right? I mean, if you live in Missouri, you don't need to save $3,000 a month, and what have you. Like, I'm looking to make, at the moment, the current goal is to get to around $4,000 a month in cash flow from dividends and other investments. But if you live in like St. Louis and stuff like that, your cost of living is probably going to go down because of housing prices are a little bit cheaper, rent's a little bit cheaper. So anyway, just because I have this amount in my goal, so around $4,000 to $5,000 a month in free cash flow from dividends, doesn't necessarily mean that's what you need. Always look for yourself and figure out what your needs are. But anyway, enough of a tangent. Hopefully this video was helpful. I'm going to do a little bit of editing and upload it for you guys. I know it's not optimal timing to upload it, but hey, I'd rather upload it and just get it off my chest so you guys can watch it. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night, and see you on the next video.